I've never been fit. I wasn't even a fit kid. A combination of bad diet and general laziness meant I was never really in good shape. As a kid I did try, kinda. I hung out with the sporty kids. I played footy and cycled to my mates' houses every day. I frequently walked 30 minutes to school instead of taking the bus, but only so I'd have an extra quid for sweets at lunchtime. I was always on the bench for the school footy team. I was always miles off winning anything on sports day. I'd eat several bars of chocolate and crisps every day. I'd turn up for football training with fizzy drink instead of water and drank over 2 litres of the stuff a day, every day. So you can imagine how things developed after I discovered drink and drugs.
The first goal I ever set myself when I first started trying to get fit was...
Sorry now, but that's just not enough of a build-up. Please, just indulge me for a few moments so I can tell you my story in a little more detail. I've enjoyed my life, you know. I'm not great with discipline. I've always eaten the wrong foods. I've taken drugs. I've, in my 20s, probably partied too much. I made a lot of bad decisions, and quite a lazy person anyway. Generally, people would have always said I think that I was kind of lazy, unmotivated, lacked discipline.
I was 29 years old before I had my first glass of water. Now, obviously I'd tried it. I'd been round at mates' houses that parents wouldn't give us something else, and I'd had a quick swig. But I'd never in my life had a full glass, and I never enjoyed it. But for most people, that is a memory that you wouldn't have. I mean, you've always drank water, right? But I remember exactly where I was. It was in Sydney City, on the corner of Liverpool and Pitt Street, in a Greek restaurant. I ended up eating there like twice a week just so I could drink a few glasses of water, because for some reason I still wasn't drinking it anywhere else.
So when I got to 30 and I thought I would try and get fit, and I started to talk about it a lot. Talk about changing my diet, talk about going to the gym. It was all talk, nothing happened.
I didn't actually put anything into action. And so when I finally did start, I was probably about 34, and
after my first day in the gym, I think I had to take about 4 days off, and it wasn't because I didn't want to go, it was because I couldn't lift my arm any higher than this. I couldn't move my chest, oh my god, the pain, all my shoulders, my legs the next day. Could barely walk up the stairs to my apartment. I was unfit. I was really unfit, you know, and I didn't look it because I don't eat to excess. But internally, I was in a bad way. You know, I was unfit. I was really unfit, and I waited too long.
When I finally did start, I was probably 34. It was very start, stop. So particularly at first, I might get 4 weeks in. When my gym membership ran out, I'd find an excuse to not go for a week or something, and then just wouldn't go again for months. And I'd go again for maybe 6 weeks, and the same thing would happen 2 months. But each time it was getting slightly easier, I guess. Anyway.
You should start before you're 30, ideally, but don't let that demotivate you. If you're 50, 60, I've seen people come to the gym last year that were a lot older than me, that were just getting going, and they were an inspiration. They really were. It was incredible. I saw people drop 20, 30, 40 kilos. Truly inspiring, you know. And also quite annoying for me, because I wasn't trying to lose fat. I was trying to build muscle. And so I was there months before some of these people, and then I was still there months after them. And I would look at pictures of us on the day they arrived and the day they left, and I looked the same. If you're starting out late on like I am, and you know, over 35, don't expect miracles. Especially if you've never been before. You know, they say muscle memory. Well, my muscles have nothing to remember.
So what the hell does any of this have to do with a 4-year-old promise, I hear you ask? Well, actually our story in that regard begins July 2017, and can you believe that was 4 years ago already? But I felt you really needed that little bit of backstory in order to fully understand who it is you're dealing with and why this seemingly simple promise is actually quite a big deal.
You see, the promise I made to myself is something some of you watching at home could probably go and do right now. Others of you might need a day or two, or a week or two. And if you're already fit, you might not take much from this video, but if, like me, you spent your whole life making excuses, or don't enjoy training, or think you're no good at it, but deep down you desperately want to try, then this video could be very important for you.
So July 2017, I was just starting up yet again after having to go home for some sad family reasons. So I was more or less back to square one again. So I decided that the best way to keep myself motivated was to set myself little missions, little goals, promises to myself, if you like. But the idea was that as I achieved each goal or promise, I would then set myself a harder one to achieve, and that would keep me going, keep me motivated. I kind of need that forward momentum. I kind of need that snowball effect, because as we've seen in the past, anytime I stop training, I'm prone to just not going back.
And so the first goal I ever set myself when I first started trying to get fit was to be able to run 10 kilometers in 1 hour or less.
So I know people who have trained for marathons in less than 2 months, so that's an easily achievable goal, right? Well, that was 45 months ago, and I still haven't done it. So I'll tell you, honestly, between you and me, I don't like running. I've never liked running. I don't think it's fun. It's boring.
So just to be clear, I've never ran 10 kilometers in my life, regardless of time, and never mind an hour. I've walked and trekked regularly, but when I set this goal, I haven't even run after a football for well over a decade.
The reason I set this target was because I didn't have the confidence or the knowledge to really use any of the other gym equipment. I knew how to use a treadmill, and so I'd go in and I'd run every day. On the first day, I think I struggled to get past 200 meters. My memory is getting to about 180 meters and thinking, what have I done? This is so embarrassing. The other people that had been on before me were still bouncing away, no problem. I was, whoa. And I'm thinking, well, you've got to save face and keep going. Getting to 200, 210, 220, and it was, you know, what's that? Family emergency? I'm on my way.
Was that lad just talking to a pair of shades?
Yep.
What a tosser.
Yep. So I started picking times to go to the gym when there'd be no one else there, so that I could have the place to myself, or when I thought there was less likely to be people running, but there would always still be someone there. And I was using my peripherals, so as I was getting slightly fitter all the time on the treadmill, I was watching what other people were doing and how other machines worked. I started watching a couple of YouTube channels, mainly Athlete X and Gravity Transformation, and over time, as I gained confidence on the lifting weight side of things, the running became less and less important. So the best run I ever had, the quickest run I ever had, the longest run I ever had was a 5k, 28 minutes, even 28 minutes and 0 seconds. So, and I never even attempted to better that. I felt like I was halfway there, and then I moved into the world of weights for a while.
And I guess somewhere along the line, I just forgot that I ever made that 10 kilometers in an hour promise to myself. And maybe I didn't forget, but I didn't remember.